Miguel Cabrera is third in the American League with a .331 batting average, and his Tigers still hold a 2.5-game lead over the Twins in the Central. Shin-Soo Choo has his average up to .303 as the Indians try to play spoiler next on Sports Time Ohio. A warm September evening here at Progressive Field as the Indians host the Detroit Tigers in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Tigers trying to make a push for the postseason. Indians trying to derail their playoff hopes. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Indians have now dropped 9 in a row. And, Rick, when you've lost 9 in a row, you look for any positive you can. And the one positive we can take away from last night's game is that the Indians defensively kept Aaron Laffey in the ball game and at least gave him a chance to win.
Well, anytime you have a pitcher that's throwing strikes and the hitters are swinging the bats, you should have better defense. And last night they did play good defense. A heads-up play by Cabrera to get the third out there. They turned a couple double plays. Choo made a nice running catch. And, you know, that's something that they have not been doing. They've been a little sloppy defensively, but last night was a good ball game. When you get good pitching and good defense, you don't have to score many runs. They couldn't do that last night, but still, it was a much cleaner game.
Yeah, the Indians' only run of the game came on a bases-loaded walk, courtesy of a Jamie Carroll pinch hit appearance late in the ball game. So now the Indians turn to Justin Masterson to try and pitch them to a win, and he has been very good pitching at home.
You know, unfortunately, his problem in this ballpark is he has had no run support. His ERA is under 1. This will be his 4th start in Progressive Field, and hopefully he can do something here against the Tigers. The last time he pitched against them, it was in relief. He's going to be matched up against a tough rookie. This guy could be Rookie of the Year. He's 2-0 against the Indians this year in Rick Porcello.
Masterson has only allowed 2 earned runs in his last 12 innings of work here at Progressive Field. We're back with the play-by-play action coming up next. Followed by Placido Polanco. Cleet Thomas has really killed the Indians this year with a .394 average. He's in the 3-hole. Then it's Miguel Cabrera batting cleanup. Aubrey Huff at DH. Carlos Guillen in left. Brandon Inge at third. Gerald Laird will catch, and Ramon Santiago bats 9th at shortstop here this evening.
Making his 15th start this year is Justin Masterson. He is 4-8 and an ERA of .449. He has pitched twice against the Tigers here, both in relief. The last outing came August 1st here in Cleveland. He pitched very well. He went 3 innings, gave up a couple of hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. And this is going to be his first start, and he's pitched very well in this ballpark. Let's check out the defense behind Justin.
It is brought to you by Honda. It's Brantley in left, Crow in center, Chu is in right, Carroll at third, Cabrera at short, Valbuena at second, Marte at first, and Marson behind the plate.
Umpiring crew tonight, Paul Nart calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief, Joe West at first, Ed Rapuano at second, Paul Schreiber down at third. Justin Masterson's first pitch tonight to Curtis Granderson is low for ball one. Last night, Jim Leland had a lineup with 8 right-handed hitters in it. Tonight, he features a lineup with 5 left-handed batters as Granderson fouls it away. And as you pointed out last night, you knew that would be the case with Masterson because left-handed hitters have given him trouble as a starting pitcher.
Well, and every manager goes out there and they put as many lefties as they can in the lineup against him.
1-1 pitch.
Rightfully so, because, right-handers are only hitting 207 off them. That's second best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to see your best right-handed hitters when you face Masterson, and then you're going to see a slew of lefties.
Now the 2-1. Shave the outside corner. And that evens the count. When Masterson, has worked out of the bullpen in the past, when he's in there for an inning or 2 innings at the most, the left-handers don't seem to give him as much trouble. Swing and a miss, he strikes out Granderson. But as you said last night, it's that second and third time through the lineup where the left-handers get a number of looks against them, and it makes it a little more difficult.
Well, that's exactly right. You go through it one time. There's a high fastball. He's able to get it by Granderson. Not a bad pitch.
One down now for Placido Polanco. Polanco batting .283 on the year, 10 homers, 68 runs batted in. Polanco against the Indians this year, a .267 mark. Banged that one off his leg. And that's pretty much about what he's done in his career. Polanco, a .269 career average against the Indians, and that covers more than 300 at-bats. Steady as she goes. That's what you get from Placido Polanco.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When you talk, we were talking about Masterson and, going through that first and second time. The first time through a lineup that he faces in there at 229. When you look at the second time through, it's 341. So that's like, the adjustment that the hitters will make. And now it's his turn to try and make some adjustments.
Justin has said he enjoys the starting role. He said it's still something that, he learns something new about himself and about the game every time he goes out there.
And it's not easy to do what he has done and turn yourself into a starter. In the middle of the year, and you're doing it with a new ball club. I mean, he started early in the year with Boston because they had some issues, and he was the guy that filled in, but they had him slated for the bullpen. But a new team, and, he's all for it. So
now the 2-2. Way outside, full count.
That's one thing about Justin, too. He will, he can get cut under some pitches, and he will go deep to a lot of hitters.
Now the right-hander's payoff pitch. And Polanco shoots it back. You saw those numbers, too. And that you talk about a manager's dream. When you can, A, pencil a guy in there every day and you don't have to worry about him. You know what you're going to get from a productivity standpoint. Steady defender. But he seems to have that sense of when the games are important, he picks it up a notch.
Yeah, he does. He's a very good clutch hitter. No doubt about it.
3-2 back up the middle. And he finds a hole, punches it through, and it's a one-out single for Polanco.
Watch how short the swing is. And that's a high fastball, but something that was easy for him to reach. He's right on the plate. He doesn't have to reach for it. So when you get that ball down, you have to make him work a little bit more as he goes right back up the middle. Gets the first hit of the game.
1 on, 1 out now for Cleet Thomas. And just missed for ball one. Thomas, just a .243 hitter on the year, but as I mentioned a moment ago, you wouldn't know it by the way he's hit against the Tribe. Bangs it to third. It's by Carroll and down the left field line. Polanco hits second. He'll go to third. Thomas holds with a long single as Brantley quickly fires it into second base.
Well, he just waited on that ball. He let it get deep in the zone. He's able to get it past Jamie Carroll at third base, and the wise play was second base because you keep the double play in order. You don't worry about that guy going to third. This is the guy you don't want to get to second base. With Brantley playing him over there, you see where he has to run to. He's able to cut it off and get it in and hold him to a single. Double play still in order, but it's the second straight hit. So the Tigers in business right now.
And Miguel Cabrera batting with 2 men on base. Looks at ball one down low. The Indians were able to contain Cabrera early in the game last night, but he got him late. When the game was on the line, he had a big RBI double in the 8th.
He
helped
sure did.
Extend that lead.
He had opportunities every time up until that 8th inning.
Lined out hard to second base his first time up last night.
Yeah, this is their money man right here. When you get guys on, he's the one that's paid to drive them in. Because this is a Tiger offense that, is lacking as far as consistency goes.
Let's get a look at our league leaders, brought to you by the Indians Team Shops. And among the top in on-base percentage. Line out of plate on the right side. Polanco the runner at third, Thomas at first. Cabrera batting .346 with runners in scoring position since July 25th. Ran it in on him that time.
Might have helped him out, too. See him shaking his head right there. I think he swung at a ball in off the plate, and that ball's going to run in. So, yes, he did. He helped him out. But that's a tough pitch to lay off. You see that thing bearing in on you.
Here's the set. And a throw over to first, chasing Thomas back. Last night, the 1, 2, and 3 hitters for Detroit were combined 6 for 11. Everybody else 2 for 20. And one of those 2 hits was Miguel Cabrera's RBI double in the 8th inning. The 2-2 ran it in on him, and Cabrera punches it through the left side. Detroit takes the lead. Polanco scoring. Thomas stops at second, and Cabrera has his 94th run batted in on the year.
Well, and they went in there once too many times because he was ready for him to dig it out that time. He swung at a ball to even the count, but this time he was ready for that sinker coming in. Maybe they felt he might have been looking away, but he's such a good hitter. You can't pitch that guy the same way 2 times, but he'll give the Tigers an early 1-0 lead.
Aubrey Huff did not play in last night's game. Takes a strike outside corner. Huff came from Baltimore on August the 17th. Grounded by Marte down the right field line. That's going to bring home Thomas. Cabrera on his way to third. Here's the throw to second, and Huff beats it in there with a slide. His 30th double of the year, his 85th run batted in. 2-0 Tigers.
And his the fourth straight hit by the Tigers. This one an extra base hit right over the bag. Down the right field line, down and in. He's a great low ball hitter, and you see him stay on top of it. Gets it past Marte at first base, down the line. So Detroit coming out smoking.
And after 4 straight hits, Carl Willis out to the mound to talk with Justin Masterson, who struck out Curtis Granderson to start the game.
But then after he had Polanco down on the count, he battled back, banged one up the middle, and now the Tigers have their offense rolling. The batter will be Carlos Guillen. And as I mentioned at the outset of our telecast tonight, in his previous 2 starts here at Progressive Field, Masterson had only allowed 2 earned runs in 12 innings of work. So the Tigers have jumped on him early here tonight. And now runners at second and third. Guillen a foul into the dirt. Guillen in a bit of a funk, hitting just 156 in his last 11 games. That's 5 hits and 32 at bats.
Well, he's only playing against right-handers as well because he can only hit from the left side of the plate because of the shoulder injury. Normally a switch hitter. So he didn't play last night with Laffey on the mound because he's only going one way. That's left-handed. Normally a guy that's you put him in that number 3 hole in your lineup when he's normal or when he's right. Pretty good pitch right there.
Called a ball, and it's 1-1. Masterson's 1-1. Off the glove of Marson, but not enough for anybody to advance. Already 25 pitches here in the first inning for Masterson. And the 2-1. Grounded towards first. Marte coming home with the throw. It's low and in the dirt. Marson can't dig it out. And the Tigers now lead it 3-0. A poor throw from Andy Marte allows the Tigers to get a run. And Cabrera would have been out at the plate with a good throw.
Nonchalant. I mean, he didn't move his feet, and he just lobs it in there. I mean, if you're going to come home, you've got to get into it, stay behind the ball. Watch his footwork. He gets lazy. You see that? You see he got tangled up?
Yeah.
He sure did. His footwork was terrible. And bounces it in. That's a routine play. If you're going to go home, be aggressive. Look at that front foot. It's almost like he tripped over it. And he short hops Marson, and there goes another run, and another guy reaches base. That's going to be an error on Marte.
No RBI for Guillen. Ground ball towards short. Cabrera off balance throw to second. They get the out there. A run scores. It's 4-0 Tigers. Inge down to first on the fielder's choice. His 77th RBI. Tigers have beaten the Indians 12 out of 16 times this year, and they've staked their rookie Rick Porcello to a 4-0 lead before the Indians have even had a turn at bat.
Not the way you wanted to start this ball game. Because the Indians, it's been over a week since they've had their last lead in a game, and it's going to be tough to get it back.
They have not had a lead in a game over their last 59 full innings. So a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Gerald Laird, who went 0 for 2 last night, but he did draw 2 walks. Way outside, 2 balls and a strike. Now the 2-1. Out of play. Up into the club seats down the right side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 4 straight hits here in the first inning. And all 4 who reached via the hit have come around to score. The 2-2. And the count goes full, and it's been a long first inning.
Yes, it has. You're looking at 33 pitches. And that's something that can happen to Masterson a lot, where, you know, you have an inning like this, and, well, you hate to have it in that first inning, because now, unless he really recovers in a hurry, it could be a short night.
Down low, ball 4. So the Tigers have batted around here in the first inning. Tonight's injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Friedman, Damiano & Smith. When you're injured, depend on us. Find Friedman, Damiano & Smith online at fdslaw.com. Matt Laporta, day to day with that left hip inflammation, hoping to give him a couple of days rest, get him back in the lineup. Ramon Santiago, switch hitter, batting ninth for Detroit. And Masterson missing wide for ball 1. Liner to second, and the inning is over, but the Tigers get 4 runs on 4 hits, 2 men left aboard, and now the Indians will try to cut into that deficit when we come back. Of the Cleveland Indians, Brantley, Carroll, and Cabrera at the top. Shin-Soo Choo heating up over his last 11. Then Travis Hafner, followed by Luis Valbuena. Lou Marson, Trevor Crowe, and Andy Marte rounded out.
Well, the young 20-year-old Rick Porcello on the mound, and what a year he has had, making his 29th start. He is 13-9 and definitely a candidate for the Rookie of the Year. He has pitched very well. He's 2-0 against the Indians in his 3 starts this year, and they've really been protective of him. He's thrown 153 2/3 innings, 79 punch-outs, and he's a ground ball guy. He has, 23 ground ball double plays. But you know what he does when he gets 2 strikes? When he throws that sinker, he'll throw a 4-seamer upstairs at you, and he can get the strikeout as well. And he's got a pretty good makeup on the mound for a young kid.
The 0-1 missed outside. Two balls and a strike. Brantley last night went 2 for 5 in the game. Now hitting .342. Ground ball up the middle, backhanded by Polanco. 1 away.
Let's check out the Tigers' defense, and this defense has been unbelievable. They've made one error in their last 19 games. It's Guillen in left, Granderson in center, Thomas is in right. Inge at third, Santiago at short, Polanco at second, Cabrera at first, Laird behind the plate.
We'll bring out Jamie Carroll. Carroll at third base tonight, as Johnny Peralta, mired in a slump, gets the night off. Carroll in a pinch hit appearance last night drew a bases loaded walk that drove in the Indians' only run of the night. There's Peralta, who is hitless in his last 25 at-bats.
He needs a day where you just sit down, you slice your head open, take your brain out, and rest it.
Put it in a jar.
Yeah, you put it in a jar and you just sit and watch.
Off
Ouch.
the middle, hit Porcello. Carroll's going to reach on the infield hit. Now they
right in the thigh, it looked like.
Tigers a little bit concerned. They don't want to see
that was solid.
Young star drilled on a line drive like that, but he appears to be okay.
He was turned sideways, and it looked like it got him in the thigh. And that thing kicked off, and it bounced. Watch, turn right in the hip. Ouch. Listen to this. Ow. Ooh. That's a base hit. Jamie hit it a little harder. Might have been a ground rule double.
That'll give you a little hip inflammation.
Yeah, right. Well, they're going to check it out. And, you know, it may stiffen up on him later, depending on where it hit him. But at least he was turned sideways. He said he's ready to go.
And Porcello, 6'5", 200-pounder out of New Jersey. He was the Tigers' #1 pick back in 2007. And when you look back, that's a draft that has already produced a number of major league players, and that's just 2 years ago. Porcello was the 27th overall pick that year, and a lot of teams shied away from him because he was represented by Scott Boras, and they were looking for big money, and the Tigers took the gamble and signed him to a major league contract. So here's a guy who's making couple $1 million in his rookie season in the big leagues, and that's pretty rare. But
well, I'll tell you one thing: he's already made up for it with 13 wins.
The return on the investment has been very favorable
Thank you very
for Detroit.
much. Yes, it has.
Swinging a foul tip.
Sometimes you get what you pay for. Sometimes you overpay, but there are times when you get. This guy's talented. And where Detroit was last year, they were dead last in the American League Central. Guess what? They're fighting for the championship this year, or the division title, let's put it that way.
And Porcello is obviously a big reason why.
Well, you're absolutely right. When you consider Armando Galarraga, they were expecting big things, he's had an off year for him. This kid has stepped up. Verlander stepped it up a little bit, and they acquired Edwin Jackson, who pitched last night. Tell you what, they've assembled 3 nice starters right there.
Indeed.
You know, with Robertson going down and Galarraga having a bad year, they have stepped up big time. And this is a team built on pitching. You know, offensively very inconsistent.
1-2 pitch. A bit low, 2-2.
Their defense is okay up the middle. You know, when you look at Polanco, who's solid at second base, and Everett they got acquired at short, and you got Granderson in center. Inge is pretty good at third base. Cabrera at first is a little shaky. Guillen's not a left fielder.
Up the middle, diving attempt by Polanco, couldn't get it. On his way to third goes Jamie Carroll, and Indians at first and third with 1 out here in inning #1. So back come the Indians, and as Asdrubal Cabrera has his second hit in the series.
It looked like Polanco did get a little leather on this and maybe killed some of the speed. Hit hard as it skims off the mound. See if he does slow it down.
Might have tipped it.
Yeah, he did tip it off the end. It slowed it down enough for Carroll to get to third base. So the Indians now with runners at the corners and see if they can cash in.
Well, Shin-Soo Choo had a good night last night. He was 3 for 4 in the game with a double. And a ball up high to Choo. Our great clip of the game last night, courtesy of Shin-Soo Choo, going to that opposite field alley. And taking that base hit the other way. And that one he hammered just above Polanco at second base. Relax, you're at great clips.
Yeah, he had some very good at-bats last night. Great swings.
One and one the count. And it's low, 2 balls and a strike. And now the count goes to 3-1. Choo hitting at a .378 clip over his last 11 games. A couple of homers for ribbies. And it's ball 4. The bases are now loaded. So 2 hits and a walk, and the Indians coming right back, and Rick Knapp's going to pay his first visit to the mound. The Tigers pitching coach out to talk with Porcello, and I'm sure in that dugout they must be wondering if that line drive off the hip has altered his mechanics maybe.
Well, I haven't noticed anything, and it doesn't look like he's favoring it. You know, and sometimes young pitchers, it takes a little while to settle in that first inning. Although, you know, his last 2 starts against the Indians, on September 2nd, he went 7 innings. On August 1st, he went 8. The first time, he went 5 innings where they made him work. Well, they have an opportunity now to make him work to get out of this inning.
Travis Hafner a chance to do some damage here in the first inning. 0 for 2 last night. He did draw 2 walks. And Porcello goes right at him with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
I think that's exactly what the pitching coach said. Went out there and said, look, it's 4-0. You got to be aggressive, get after, and don't try and be too fine because you have a couple guys on base.
High chopper off the plate. Santiago grabs it, tags the bag, is thrown to first in the dirt. Indians get on the board and now have runners at first and third. Hafner picks up his 44th run batted in on the year as Jamie Carroll scores on the play.
Santiago trying to turn that double play. He was past the bag, so he had to come back, and he was lucky to step on it and get the force out at second the way Choo runs. You see, that ball went right off the plate. And, boy, another foot, and he would have been lucky. Choo, hustling, just about beat it.
Now Luis Valbuena steps in. He was 1 for 4 last night. Tying run at the plate here in the first inning. Valbuena just 3 hits in his last 25 at bats, though. 1-1 the count. Porcello's command a little shaky here at the outset, and the Indians trying to jump on him while they have a chance. Laird couldn't find it. It was right beneath him. Nobody advances in the count 1-2.
Well, Valbuena is starting to see a steady dose of off-speed pitches, breaking balls, change-ups. And, he's geared for one thing, that fastball. And now, the one at-bat I like last night, he went the other way off Edwin Jackson to left center field. And now you can't get pull happy. There's
Up the
another
middle,
curveball.
Polanco feeds Santiago for the inning-ending force. Indians get a run back, and after 1, it's 4-1 Detroit.
Airlines, official airline of the Cleveland Indians, Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. By McCafe Coffees at McDonald's, all made to order with fresh ground espresso beans. And by All Care Dental Indentures, we make seeing the dentist easy.
4-1, Tigers lead at second inning here at Progressive Field. Justin Masterson and Rick Porcello combined for 60 pitches in that first inning. Granderson lines out to Marte to start inning number 2. Let's get a look at the Alltel text poll question of the game. Which current Indian has been the team's best pitcher this season? Here are your choices: Kerry Wood, Chris Perez, Jeremy Sowers, Aaron Laffey, David Huff. Text your answer to 31962. We'll reveal the results later in the game. Placido Polanco had a base hit, scored a run his first time up, and takes a strike here. Just missed, and the count 1-1. And now Masterson jumps ahead in the count. Detroit has been a hot and cold team for most of the year, but they're looking to get on a run here late and put the Central Division away. They're 10 games above 500. They've won 2 in a row coming into tonight's action.
Oh, and they've dominated the Indians this year.
Yeah, they have.
(12-4) against the Tribe.
Missed inside, full count. And, you know, as you pointed out, what a difference a year has made for the Tigers from last year, where they were just playing out the string at the end, to this year battling for a division title.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Slider swung on and missed. Second strikeout for Masterson, 2 down here in the second.
Well, it looked like it was a pretty good slider. It had a good break to it. 3-2 pitch right there. Excellent location. He gets a strikeout. Good pitch.
Polanco, one of the toughest guys to strike out.
I know. That's one where if you can keep that same arm slot on that pitch, I mean, that would be, I mean, he'd get that all day long against the right-handers. Even though that pitch was still up, it was in a great location away.
Clee Thomas fouls it out of play. 1-1 to count. Thomas came in batting just 173 in the month of September, but banged one just inside the bag at third his first time up, came around to score. Two balls and a strike. Foul tipped it, and the count 2-2. Thomas shoots it out of play. Count remains 2-2 as Justin Masterson tries to set the Tigers down 1-2-3 here in the second inning. Now the 2-2. Fastball missed in off the plate. And the count goes full. And again, he fouls one out of play. So pretty good battle here.
But again, the last couple of hitters, full counts, and he's going deep into with every hitter. He has 50 pitches, and we're in the second inning.
And the payoff pitch. Line toward right field. Chu on the run will make the catch. And the Tigers do indeed go 1-2-3 here in the second, but they still lead it 4-1. Tigers on top. Bottom of the second inning. Bottom third of the Indians order due up here. Lou Marson 0 for 2 last night with a couple of walks. And he hammers this one deep right field. Thomas back on the track, reaches up and makes the catch.
Boy, oh boy.
Slamming into the wall, but hung on.
That ball was hit well. And he got a good jump and ran a great route. And I'll tell you what, he made a nice catch right before he kisses the wall. And he went in pretty hard. That ball, Lou hit it very hard. I thought that was extra bases, maybe even out of here. But he comes back and makes a catch right before he runs into the wall, puts it up. Look at that. That's a good play. Saves extra bases, and you get that leadoff man aboard.
Let the left shoulder bear the brunt. The non-throwing shoulder, always a good idea.
Well, he has played well against the Indians this year.
Yes, he has. Trevor Crowe went to bunt, took the pitch for a ball. 1-1 to count. Crowe was 2 for 4 last night. Down low, 2 balls and a strike. You commented earlier about Rick Porcello, his poise, his demeanor on the mound. I wonder if that's from the gene pool. His grandfather, Sam Dente, played 9 years in the major leagues. Ground ball towards second. Polanco throws him out. 2 down here in inning number 2, and including he played for the 1954 Cleveland Indians.
Is that right?
He was kind of a utility infielder. Played some shortstop, even played second base.
Well, I bet he wasn't 6'5".
No, in fact, I wrote it down. 5'11", 175 pounds.
Okay, because middle infielders back then, they were small.
Yeah. And here's Rick Porcello at 6'5", 200 pounds. But, you know, I looked it up, and, Rick, we talked a lot about utility guys and the mentality when you don't play every day and you're counted on. Played 9 years, his grandfather, in the big leagues as a utility man.
Right. How many at bats?
Over 2,000.
Okay.
In 9 years. Batted .305, career lifetime average in the major leagues.
So he knew it, yeah. Would he get an occasional spot start? But then, back then, pitchers were hitting
filling
and
in for injured players.
Yeah, and you'd pinch hit a lot more. American League now, you know, if you're a utility player, the DH, you don't get a chance to pinch hit. At least you do over in the National League. That could get you, you know, maybe 20, 30 at-bats a year more.
Sam Dente played for the Red Sox in 47, played for the Browns in 48, Washington in 49, 50, and part of 51. There's a blooper, and it's going to drop in for Andy Marte. A 2-out single for the Indians keeps the inning alive now for Michael Brantley. He also played for the White Sox for a couple of years and then finished his career in the big leagues with the Indians in 54 and then in 55, and that was it.
Well, he had a number of bag tags on that suitcase,
yeah, he
didn't
did.
he? Marte gets jammed and flares one in. That'll be the third hit for the Indians, a 2-out single here.
But interestingly enough, Porcello grew up, as I mentioned earlier, in New Jersey. And he grew up a Mets fan. But he said, we went more often to Yankee Stadium because my brothers were Indians fans. So we'd go watch
American League,
the Indians when they came in to play the
More
Yankees.
of an American League style family than a National League, and he's back in the American League. And you know what? May have a chance to take a trip to Yankee Stadium at the end of this year for the playoffs.
Good point.
Because if it ends right now, if it was to end today the way it is, Detroit would play New York. And they'd open up in Yankee Stadium. It would be Boston and the Angels, as it always is.
2-0 pitch. Brantley, big bouncing ball. It's in the right field. Marte will hold at second. And the Indians have back-to-back hits for the second inning in a row against Porcello, but this time they come after two men are already out.
Well, this one just it finds a hole. Brantley just gets on top of the ball, and you can see with a man on first, that ball's going to get into right field. So you've got a flare to right, a base hit, and the Indians keep it going, though, with 2 outs.
Jamie Carroll, his first time up, he had a line drive right back at Porcello, and it nailed him square on his right hip.
You know, that's the one thing, too, offensively with the Indians. They've been getting their share of hits. Like last night, they had 10 hits, but they had 9 singles.
Yep.
You know, and the extra base hit has been missing. The long ball has been missing from this offense.
And they haven't been able to get that clutch hit.
Yes.
Here's another look at the line drive hit off Porcello's hip.
Ouch. He'll have a nice little bruise there tomorrow.
Strike call. During this 9-game losing streak, the Indians have batted well below 200 with runners in scoring position. And, you know, those are the big hits, as you've said. Sometimes they come in the form of 2-out hits, but they tend to lead, though, to big innings because you get that one big hit with a runner in scoring position. Everybody relaxes and takes a little pressure off the next guy.
Well, that's how this team has gone all year long.
Bites it off, foul down the right side.
But it takes you that one hit to get you going. You know, I don't care what it is. It seems to take a little pressure off. And right now, everybody's trying to do it on their own.
Well, last night they got a hit early with a runner in scoring position, and Matt Laporta blew his hip out coming around third and was thrown out at the plate.
Right.
So.
And that sort of diffuses any of the positive that was going on.
2 on, 2 out, and the 1-2. Outside to even the count. Meanwhile, Rick Porcello, like his counterpart Justin Masterson, a lot of pitches here in the early going. This is number 43 for him. High, full count. And if he loses Carroll, Asdrubal Cabrera waits on deck. Carroll has been one of the Indians' best, if not the best hitter with runners in scoring position this year. Now he doesn't have as many at-bats as a number of the other players. But overall, 343 average in the clutch. Runners go, and it's high, ball 4. Bases are loaded with 2 down. Boy, this would be a good time for a salami, and we could raise some more money for the gathering place. We're stuck at $9,060 on the year. Every time the Indians go deep, Great Clips donates $50. Rick and I are each pitching in $5 per homer for the tribe. You can make a donation by logging on to touchbycancer.org. Of course, the gathering place does great work helping individuals battling cancer as well as their family members with programs offered free of charge from 2 locations, one on the east side in Beechwood, one on the west side in Westlake. Cabrera singled his first time up. This time he bounces it to second, and the inning is over. Tribe leaves him loaded, and through 2, it's 4-1 Detroit. Another beautiful night here in downtown Cleveland. 4-1 Detroit on top as we go to the 3rd inning. Miguel Cabrera leading off, and Justin Masterson misses for ball 1. Missed inside. Three balls, no strikes. And he missed on 4 straight. So Cabrera draws a leadoff walk here to start inning number 3. If there's a chance you're thinking about popping the big question, well, head on over to Alvin's Jewelers. Buy your engagement ring at Alvin's. Then, if it should rain on your wedding day, then the engagement ring is free. Log on to Alvin's Jewelers and get all the details in their Pray for Rain promotion. Aubrey Huff looks at a ball down low.
Huff doubled, made it 4 straight hits back in the 1st inning on a pitch down and in. And he got off to a really slow start after getting traded.
Popped in the air. Brantley in left field will make the catch. 1 away.
Well, have you planned your company picnic yet? Well, you better hurry up. It is fall. The Indians offer a one-of-a-kind venue here at Progressive Field, and you can choose from a variety of affordable food and beverage options. Call 216-420-HITS for full information.
Carlos Guillen. 0 for 1, bounced into a fielder's choice, first time up.
You know, that's the second time Joe West over there, the ball short hops a first baseman, so he takes it from the first baseman and throws it out of play. Ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. What, like you ruined the ball?
You know what's funny is we were watching one of those old games. Oh, there's a high drive, deep right field. Chu is back, and this baby is gone. Deep into the Tiger bullpen. Carlos Guillen's 10th home run of the year. RBIs number 35 and 36, and it's 6-1 Detroit.
Well, there was no doubt in that one. As soon as it left the bat, it was high and it was deep. The 11th home run given up by Justin Masterson, and the 10th. Look at this. Ooh. Fastball right there. Boy, there's two quick ones. It's a 6-1 ball game.
Brandon Inge takes a strike.
Must have been that new ball they put into play.
Well, you know, we were talking about that. You know, we watched those old games.
On the road we were watching it, remember?
On I think it was MLB channel or something. And
it was.
There was a ball, it was like rolling along the baseline, and somebody just went over, grabbed it.
The base runner from the other team grabbed it, picked it up, and threw it
to the pitcher.
Yeah.
Here you go. I mean, when did it become such an obsession that if there's a slight scuff mark, we got to get this ball out of play?
Anytime the ball's in, now catchers just go back. It's ridiculous.
Well, you would know. I mean, how much of an advantage do you think a pitcher really can have if a ball's scuffed in the ground?
I would think pitchers would want to use a scuff ball if you know what you're doing with it. I mean, if you ask the pitcher, he says, well, if it's scuffed in the right place, I could throw it. If it's not, then they switch and get a new ball. I don't know. Guys like Maddox, and, you know, there's a lot of pitchers that could deal and I'm sure pitch with a little scrape. I know Don Sutton was one of them.
Second walk of the inning issued by Masterson. As a hitter, could you tell, hey, that ball's doing something funny?
Doesn't matter. If they threw a spitter, hit the dry side. It doesn't matter. I never, got into that to where you felt, if they were throwing something or if it was cutting or running. Gaylord Perry had the puff ball with all the rosin and everything. It didn't matter. See the ball hit it.
Carl Willis calling the bullpen, and activity begins for the Tribe Pen. That's been an all too familiar sight early in games during this 9-game skid.
Well, the starters, I mean, they've been playing from behind early every ball game.
Mike Gosling, left-hander, will start to loosen. 65 pitches for Masterson thus far. Gerald Laird drew a walk his first time up. Already his third free pass in the series. That stayed fair out in front of the plate. Marsden looked down to second, nobody there. He takes the out at first, 2 down. Let's check out our Subway Fresh face of the game. Chuck Lofgren at AAA, combined with his numbers at Akron, punched out 93 in 141 innings. Subway, play hard, eat fresh. Ramon Santiago ended the first inning when he lined out hard to second base. Takes a strike. Good pitch down and in, 0-2 the count. Not a home run hitter by any stretch, but a career high this year for Santiago with 7 homers.
He's a guy that, on a team like this, you get a chance to play short against a tough right-hander to give Everett a day off. You can play second, give Polanco a day off. So, he fits into a team like that. And if you know your role, which he does, you know, that you fit in beautifully.
He's really excelled at home, batting over 300 at Comerica Park. Just 221 on the road. 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Tigers get 2 more on the 2-run homer by Guillen. And we'll go to the bottom of the third, 6-1 Tigers. Check out the folks in the club lounge. Shin Soo Choo, Travis Hafner, Luis Valbuena. And a swing and a miss. Rick Porcello now with a 5-run lead. He's had a rough go of it so far. He's allowed 4 hits. He has stranded 5 base runners, though, through the first 2.
Well, we'll see if that extra 2 runs makes him a little more aggressive and settles in. He had 4 in the first. He had to wiggle it out last inning with the bases loaded. They've left 5 stranded in the first 2 innings.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Out of play for Chu. That's hit high in the air, fairly deep left. Guillen is under it. 1 down. Let's go back to the STO studios right now for our first Forward Sports Update with Al.
All right, Matt, Rick, an afternoon game with the Angels and Yankees. Mariano Rivera here in the 9th inning. 1-run game gets Juan Rivera to fly out. The Yankees win. Rivera his 42nd save this year. The Angels 6.5 up in the American League West. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Al.
Back-to-back 1-run wins for the Yankees out in L.A.
Seems to be some question, I don't know, internally, but there's certainly external debate going on as to what the Yankees would do when they get to the playoffs with their rotation. Do they go with CC Sabathia as their #1 starter, who has great numbers? He's charging towards a possible Cy Young award again. Or do they go with the experience of Andy Pettitte in Game 1 and hold CC back for Game 3, go with the right-hander in the middle? Well, probably can't go wrong either way, but
you see what happens when they get there. They'll probably play they're going to play the winner of the Central Division, because the Red Sox are going to win the wild card, so they can't play in their division. So they'll be out to face the Angels, so they're going to face either Detroit or Minnesota. Again, I think they would get the opportunity to whether they want to play on, what is it, that get that extra day
that's
rest.
Right. Yeah, there's a ground ball into right field. Base hit for Hafner. And a one-out single now for Luis Valbuena. So the Indians have had at least a hit in every inning thus far. But as you pointed out, singles, lots of singles for the Indians. And, hey, let's face it, when you're not getting those extra base hits, it takes a longer rally then to put something together and score runs.
I mean, especially when you're down in a ball game like this. If you can't strike quickly and you've got to string 4, 5, 6 hits together, it's just not going to happen.
Guillen is back. He'll grab that. 2 down. Time now for our all-care dental and dentures Smile and Easy Cam tonight here at Progressive Field. And a special hello to our all-care friends in Toledo, Ohio. All-care dental and dentures make seeing the dentist easy.
Did you see Rusty on the dental cam?
2 down, a runner at first for Lou Marson. Marson drilled one to deep right field his first time up the opposite way. But Cleet Thomas made a terrific running catch. Hit the wall pretty hard, but able to hold on.
That was the best ball hit tonight. I thought it had a chance to get out, but this ballpark just doesn't yield a lot of home runs, or it hasn't this year. This is a legitimate ballpark to pitch in.
1-1 to count.
The Indians have hit 58 home runs here. The opposition has hit 65, make it 66. Compared to 93 the Indians have hit on the road. What a difference, huh? 35 more home runs on the road.
Little topper hit towards third. It's going to go foul. I mean, one could argue, well, that's because they've changed the lineup. They've got a lot of young players. But even when they had Victor Martinez swinging well, and earlier in the year you had DeRosa, they still weren't hitting him here, not at home.
Right, they were not.
This will be pitch number 60 on the night coming up for Rick Porcello. Runner at first with 2 down. Low and away with the off-speed pitch, 2-2. Checked on a ball up high. And so the count goes full. Well, Lou Marson has definitely shown an ability to work the count and get himself on base while he hasn't hit a whole lot. He has drawn 5 walks in the 7 games he's played in. Strike 3 called, and the inning is over. Through 3, 6-1 Detroit. 6-1 Tigers lead today as we go to the fourth inning here at Progressive Field. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and happy to be joined now by Dr. Dan Ross, the 9th commissioner in the history of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. And, of course, Sports Time Ohio and the OHSAA have a great relationship. Looking forward to the upcoming high school football, state playoffs, and state championships. How you doing?
Great. It's good to be here. I know it's been kind of a tough year, but we love the Indians, and it doesn't make any difference the kind of the year. You have some good ones and you have some tough ones, and this is one of the tougher ones.
Of course, things are always good at the High School Athletic Association. You always have competitive games every year, the state playoffs and state championships, in particular in football, near and dear to my heart, and those are always a great time every year.
Well, I think the Akron-Canton area has been so wonderful to host that it keeps Northeast Ohio, although we've had a lot of Northwest Ohio with the MAC schools over there participate, but it keeps Northeast Ohio right in the middle and in the thick of things.
Curtis Granderson leading off here for Detroit Bangs when found. Talk to us about Service Week, fundraising and charitable efforts going on right now.
Well, this is year number 2. Last year, we had about 250 schools participate in Service Week. They raised about $250,000 for charity. And the volunteer hours were in the thousands of volunteer hours to help communities and schools. So we're doing year number 2. It's going to start the week before Thanksgiving and go through the first week in December. They'll have the opportunity to sign up on yougive.com, which tracks the volunteer hours. And we're trying a program called March for a Million to get 1 million service hours for high school students.
I was going to say, so this involves the students actually getting out into the community and giving back a little bit.
Absolutely, and raising money. Last year, the projects were just absolutely unbelievable. The money was wonderful. You know, $250,000 is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
In that very first year. But the hundreds of volunteer hours that went into painting homes and servicing food pantries, and at that time of the year, there's so many critical needs that need to be addressed for high school students and coaches and school communities to come together for a project like that is magnificent.
And that has to make the kids feel very good as well.
It does.
When they're a part of the community and they're out there doing something.
Well, so many times there's people in the community that may not understand all the wonderful things that schools are doing and kids are doing,
Right.
and this puts them right in the face of the community doing wonderful things for their community.
Yeah, when you talk about, levies and taxes and people paying taxes for schools, I think it's good for people in the community to see those tax dollars and the idea of kids giving back for that.
Well, and that you hit it right on the head. And sometimes I think all the research says that young people who are involved in those kind of activities, when they get out of college and come back, are much more likely to be involved in those kind of activities if they've had the opportunity to do it while they were in school. And so this provides a tremendous opportunity for every high school student in the state of Ohio to participate.
Of course, you were formerly the superintendent in Avon Lake City
I
Schools.
know you guys
That's
had
right.
a little tie up there. I could tell
That's
just
right.
as soon as
You
you
knew
walked
that was
in.
coming.
Yes, I did.
But obviously, this is a place near and dear to your heart. I know you grew up in Portsmouth, but you had some fond memories in Avon Lake. They went to the state championship and won it.
Yes, they did. What a tremendous group of young people, but just what a great community that gets behind. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about high school athletics. The school communities come together, they get behind the kids, they support the kids, win or lose, they're there for them, they help them through, and I think that's one of the things that sets high school sports apart from everything else.
Yeah, no question about it. I've said for a long time, there's nothing quite like a fall Friday night in a small town in particular where it seems like the whole city turns out to watch the game.
Well, you'll be a part of that, too, coming this winter. He's going to hang up the baseball headset and get some football going on.
Well, that is great, and he must understand that because you started describing it, and he's shaking his head, yeah.
I said, I know
that was
exactly
good.
where
You
he's
knew
going
that.
there.
Right. And that's not to sell basketball short because the high school state championship, the tournament action is second to none as well. I mean, that's unfortunately we don't get to see that because we're usually tied up in spring training at that part of the year.
We miss you, but that is a wonderful couple of weeks in Columbus where all the schools come down to Columbus and play, and they crown a champion, and we usually have 4 good ones.
Now I'm wondering, you're growing up in Portsmouth, Ohio. You're probably dreaming of playing maybe for the Bengals, maybe for the Browns, maybe for the Indians, the Reds. Was commissioner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association ever? When did you aspire to become that kind of a position?
Actually, I never went to school to be a superintendent. Ended up being a superintendent for 20-plus years. Never really ever thought about this until the position came open. And many people who were involved in the field said, you know, this is something that you really ought to think about because you've been a coach and you've been an official and you've been in schools and you've been around kids that have achieved and done well both academically and athletically, and you understand kind of how that process works.
Uh-oh. There is a titanic shot hit to the bleachers and left by Miguel Cabrera. Up into no man's land, but it bounces back down to a couple of Tiger fans. 2-run homer for Miguel Cabrera. And it's now an 8-1 Tiger lead.
Okay, I want to hear more. We see enough what's going on down there. It's 8-1.
You feel like, though, Commissioner, that you've had a chance to really have an impact on a lot of kids' lives in this position?
Well, and I think that's probably the biggest reason that I left being a school superintendent, because you have a district. Now you have the opportunity to work with people across the state. And I think we've been trying to work really, really hard on helping people understand what high school sports are all about. This isn't all about W's and L's. This is about teaching kids life lessons that when they come back to their communities, when they're finished with school, that they become great citizens. How to be a good teammate, camaraderie. You play with the rules. You get knocked down, you got a choice. It's those kind of things that you have the opportunity to learn.
Keep up the great work.
Well,
rough night for Justin Masterson. Down 8-1 here as we go to the home half of the fourth inning. Trevor Crow leading off, then Andy Marte and Michael Brantley. Great to see Dan Ross, Commissioner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. And we thank him for stopping by tonight. Rick Porcello's 2-1 pitch up high. 3 balls and a strike. Hard ground ball hit the second. Polanco will throw him out.
Well, Sunday, the Indians will wrap up their series with the Baltimore Orioles, and all kids 14 and under will receive a mustard bobster. It's also Kids Fun Day, and it'll be the last day kids can come out and play out there on the plaza, run the bases after the game. That'll be Sunday.
Andy Marte looks at a ball up high. Just thinking about with Dan Ross stopping by, the commissioner of the High School Athletic Association, and you think, Rick, 2 years ago, just 2 short years ago, Rick Porcello was striking out high school kids.
Yeah.
So there's some kids right now in college watching a game on TV saying, I faced that guy in high school, and he's already in the big leagues.
It's sometimes you do lose perspective on some of these guys that are up here in uniform and how young they really are when you say they're kids. They are truly kids. When you think at 20, he's 20. You got some 22, 23-year-olds. They are not that far removed from high school.
He was the Gatorade National High School Player of the Year in 2007. At Seton Hall Prep, he went 10-0 with a 1.18 ERA, struck out 112 in 71 innings his senior year in high school. He even threw a perfect game on 77 pitches.
Does that surprise you?
No.
Well, down there, he just overmatched kids. 77 pitches. And that's the thing about him this year. As I said in the open, he's only thrown 100 pitches 3 times. They're protecting him. He's usually a 6-inning pitcher for these guys because he is so young, and they got to limit his innings, and they got to watch his arm and his work ethic. But he has been unbelievable. It doesn't seem wowed by being in the big leagues or the hitters you're facing or the stadiums you're pitching in.
Michael Brantley is swinging a miss.
Well, and 8 runs on your behalf doesn't hurt either.
No, that's always a pitcher's best friend. Brantley pops one in the air to left. Guillen in. 2 down. Didn't take the Tigers long to realize that Porcello was going to be something special. Last July, he made a start for the Lakeland Tigers in the Florida State League and pitched 5 innings of a 7-inning no-hitter over the St. Lucie Mets. He led the Florida State League in ERA that year. And Baseball America ranked him as the #1 pitching prospect out of that league. And 1 year later, he's looking for his 14th win in the major leagues. 2 down, a runner at first. Jamie Carroll has singled, scored a run, and walked. Don't forget to log on to STOstuff.com and check out the STO gear. We got the bobbleheads available. You can grab a Bruce Drennan I Love You Cleveland bottle opener.
He was supposed to give me one today when I did his show. He never did.
He's still mad because you blew him off in the spring.
Well, I'll never do his show again.
Log on to STOstuff.com.
I love you, Brucey.
2-1 pitch. Strike called. Marte, who walked, is at first base with 2 down here in the 4th. Carroll fouls one out of play.
Got to send along very happy birthday wish to Herman Heinzel of Erie, Pennsylvania, turning 100 today. Herman, happy birthday. Also, Lucille O'Donnell of Aurora, turning 80. Happy birthday, Lucille. We've got a couple more we'll give you in a little while.
80 pitches on the night so far for Porcello. And a line drive up the middle. Jamie's had pretty good aim on the Tiger pitcher so far tonight. He drilled him with a ball in the first inning. Low bridged him with that line drive. I
think that's pretty much the approach maybe other hitters should look at, going right back up the middle with him. Because Carroll now, his second hit, I don't know if that was a high changeup or that was a fastball, but whatever, it's coming right back at you. He's got a duck. Already got him once today. Carroll now 2 for 2. He's walked one time as well.
Now is Drupal Cabrera. As Drupal is 1 for 2, grounded out to end the second inning with the bases loaded. Twins and White Sox scoreless there in the second inning at U.S. Cellular Field. Gerald Laird going to go out and talk with Porcello, who's fallen behind 2-0 here.
Let's catch back up on our birthdays. Ken Croyle of Youngstown turning 69. Sue Little of Youngstown 55. And the boss man, Bruce Springsteen, is turning 60 today, believe it or not.
That doesn't seem possible, does it?
Well, happy birthday to each and every one.
Two-0 pitch. Santiago throws out Cabrera, and the inning is over. 4 complete, 8-1 Detroit. Brought to you by Subway. Play hard, eat fresh. And by Alltel Wireless. Choose who you call for free with My Circle. Any number, any network. Eight 1, Tigers on top. We'll go to the 5th inning here at Progressive Field. It'll be Carlos Guillen leading it off against Mike Gosling, left-hander coming on for the 14th time this year. No wins or losses. ERA 4.58. In 19 2/3 innings, he's walked 8, punched out 12.
So another rough start for Justin Masterson. 8 runs on 7 hits in 4 innings of work.
Guillen hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning off Masterson. And he hammers this one deep to left field, heading to the bleachers again.
Wow.
Guillen's second home run of the night.
And did you notice he hit right-handed?
That's a good point.
He was hitting left-handed. That's the first time I don't know when. We'll have to see if we can find out. But I'll tell you what have you been waiting? He turned on that ball in a hurry.
I think the shoulder's feeling pretty good.
Boy, it certainly looks like it. 3rd home run. That was an excellent swing. Look at him stay right out, but a bad pitch right down Broadway. He's got that little kick in his stance, and that's a line shot out of here to left field. It's now a 9-1 ball game.
Brandon Inge fouls one back over the screen. So 3 Tiger homers in 3 straight innings. Guillen hit a 2-run shot into the bullpen in the 3rd inning. Cabrera homered to the bleachers in the 4th, and now Guillen homers to the bleachers here in the 5th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 7th time in Guillen's career he's had a 2-homer game, 2nd time this year. 4th time he's homered from each side of the plate in the same game. Now Inge keeps the hands back but lifts it to left. Routine for Brentley, 1 away. Here's our Northern Ohio Toyota dealers game recap. Aubrey Huff with a double in the first inning. 4 straight hits for the Tigers staked them to a 4-0 lead. Carlos Guillen's 2-run homer in the third made it 6-1, and then Miguel Cabrera's 2-run shot in the fourth made it 8-1. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com.
And for Guillen, that was his first homer of the year from the right side of the plate.
Little tapper, gonna be a tough play. Carroll, bare hand grab, throw. Not in time, says Joe West.
Boy, when you're a catcher, look at him smile, and you get an infield hit. That's enough to put a smile on your face. Because catchers, they rarely, if ever, get an infield hit. That's a perfect bunt. But he swings his bat. It goes as a swinging bunt. Carroll did everything in his power. But no siree. He beats it out. It'll go as an infield hit. 9 hits now for the Tigers.
Ramon Santiago 0 for 2 tonight. And he lines one into center field, a base knock. Laird stops at second. Two on with 1 out for Curtis Granderson, who's 1 for 3. Twins out in front of the White Sox early, 1-0. They're in the second inning now in Chicago. And I'm sure the Twins are well aware of the score of this game, knowing that they're going to need to win to keep pace with Detroit. One 1-0 pitch. Missed again. 2 balls, no strikes. Right back over the screen. Story broke late this afternoon. Looks like longtime Atlanta skipper Bobby Cox is leaning towards retirement after next year. Cox has managed 20 years in Atlanta.
And what a 20 years it has been. Well, with the first 15 was it the first 15 all playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 2,400 regular season career wins. Tommy, did you say that's 4th all-time or 4th among active? 4th all-time. Got guys like Tony La Russa and
right.
Joe Torre. They've got a few wins under their belt, too. But when you look at guys who've managed in one place for a long time, that's a pretty short list in a hurry.
Well, Bobby Cox he's one of the best. I remember when he started and he managed in Toronto before going down to Atlanta.
Tommy Lasorda, of course, 21 years at the helm in Los Angeles. Walter Alston, 23 consecutive years. John McGraw, the Giants, 31 consecutive years. Nobody's going to catch Connie Mack. Popped him up. Might be playable. Marson back to the screen, and it's beyond his reach. Connie Mack managed 50 years. That doesn't even seem possible, does it?
No.
What was he, 10 when he started? 50 years with the A's. That's incredible. 2 on, 1 out, 2-2 pitch. The 2-2 is fouled back again. Tonight after the ball game, stay tuned for the Berea Report with Jim Donovan and Mary Kay Cabot. Break down what's going on with the Browns as they prepare for their upcoming game against the Baltimore Ravens. That'll be in Baltimore this Sunday. Full count.
Now, Gosling hasn't been able to get that breaking ball over because Granderson having a good at-bat, working him deep and fouling off some pitches.
And the payoff pitch is again fouled back. An 11-pitch at bat for Curtis Granderson, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Payoff pitch, hammered foul again.
He's not fooling anybody. I mean, they're digging in. 9 foul balls in this at bat.
So every strike's been a foul ball then. Did you hear him?
Yes, correct.
Here's 3-2 again. Weekly hit to second, or to short. On to second for one. Relay. Not in time. Well, Granderson gets down the line in a hurry. And they did everything they could to try and turn that double play. This is a sponsored element in the program. It's called our Direct Energy, bringing the gas sequence.
Well, and it's going to be Placido Polanco, the hitter up there. And it's Justin Masterson gets him for just the 40th time this year. And he's one of the best, or one of the toughest, I should say, to strike out. It comes down on that slider. For Polanco, that's over 500, almost 70 at-bats.
He's 1 for 3 on the night. Singleton scored in the first. And he shoots one out of play. He may need another dozen balls just for this inning. Gosling with a set on the 1-0. And he broke his bat. Cabrera, off balance throw, and he got him. Tigers tack on another run on the Guillen homer to left. And it's 9-1 Tigers, middle of the 5th. 9-1, Tigers lead it here at Progressive Field, bottom of the 5th inning. Tigers jumped on the try with a 4 spot in the first. And then they've played home run derby ever since. 2-run shot by Guillen in the 3rd, 2-run homer by Cabrera in the 4th, and a solo homer by Guillen in the 5th. Shin-Soo Choo shoots one out of here foul. He is 0 for 1. Walked his first time up, fly to left in the 3rd. Porcello got off to a rocky start, but he stranded 5 runners in the first 2 innings. And after Detroit jumped out to the big lead, he's been able to just settle in and kind of battle his way through it. It hasn't been pretty for Porcello. But he's going to go at least 5. 2-2. As Rick told you earlier, the Tigers, because of his age, very careful with his pitch count. Now, he's been mostly a 6-inning at most pitcher. A couple of times he's gone 7. Tapper back to the mound, 1 down. Let's go back to the STO studios once again for a Ford Sports update. Al has the latest in the National League.
Well, Matt, Rick, the Florida Marlins making a late push for the wild card, and here tonight they were trailing Philly 2-0. Then Cody Ross ties it up to 2. It's now even at 3. Marlins and Phils in Miami, 6th inning, 3-all. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Al. It's the kind of like the Marlins' last stand.
Yeah, they have to win out pretty much. They're 5.5 back going into tonight's ball game of Colorado, who leads it. Then you have Atlanta and San Francisco that are 5 back. The way Colorado has been playing, though, it's going to be tough. And most of their games are at home for the remainder of the season.
Well, did I see last night? I think they won a wild one last night.
Yeah, 11-10.
Yeah.
Or against San Diego.
Hafner with a high drive, deep left center field. Guillen is back. Pulls it down about a step in front of the track, 2 away.
Well, if you're interested in playing baseball for a week and having a good time, come on out to the Cleveland Indians Fantasy Camp. It'll be out in Goodyear, Arizona, January 16th to the 23rd, an all-inclusive week. Get to see the new complex of the Cleveland Indians, and I mean play a lot of baseball and have a lot of fun. And you'll meet friends and have a great time, great thoughts, and great memories for forever if you're a baseball fan. We have some of the pros' assistants that are in the suite tonight.
Liner to left. Guillen broke in. Now back. 1, 2, 3 go the Indians. 5 complete. 9-1 Tigers. Nine-1 Tigers on top. Rolling tonight. Cleet Thomas will lead off the 6th, Miguel Cabrera, and then Aubrey Huff. Minnesota out to a 2-0 lead now over the White Sox, top third in Chicago. I'll tell you one thing, Rick, too. Regardless of where this thing finishes up, given what the Twins have had to deal with this year, and hey, every team has injuries and every team has to deal with inconsistencies and subpar performances and those types of things. But, you know, they were barely a 500 team most of the year. They struggled to get there. They'd fall back below. But the fact that they've been able to hang in there and they're continuing to keep the heat on Detroit, got to tip your hat to them.
You know who's really stepped it up is Michael Kadire.
Yes, indeed.
Because now that Morneau went out, he's playing first base. I think he has 15 ribbies in the 9 games that he's filled in since Morneau's been out. And then you've got the constant in Joe Mauer, who's, you know, possibly the MVP of the league. So you're exactly right. You give them credit. When you think they're down and out, they come back.
Cleet Thomas, opposite field extra bases here. He stops at second with a leadoff double. In the month of September now, Michael Kadire has hit 7 homers and driven in 20 runs for Minnesota. You talk about stepping up.
Now you see that was
the definition
player.
of it.
That's exactly right. And he's hitting right behind Mauer in the number 4 hole. So offensively, he has certainly helped them. And, you know, their pitching has gotten a little bit better, too. Some of the younger kids that we're counting on.
Still might not be enough. I mean, Detroit, they've got the lead. They've got.
That's all going to come down to the 4 games that the Twins and the Tigers are going to meet in Comerica Park. Yep. And, you know, you look at the Twins, and they have had the Tigers' number this year. As a matter of fact, Minnesota has beaten them. They've beaten them 9 times. Tigers are 5-9 against Minnesota.
0-1 pitch. I don't know how the rotation, how it's going to spin out, but if they get Jackson, Porcello, and Verlander in 3 of those 4 games, they're going to have a pretty good chance.
They may, because they go to Chicago from here.
Okay.
You know, and let me see. Who started the first game here? Jackson. They may pitch Jackson on Sunday against Chicago. And then it would be Porcello and Verlander, if they play, let me see their schedule, if they play on Monday in Detroit.
Hold on a second here. I'll give it to you in a minute. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Chicago.
Right. So Jackson should be on Sunday. And then where do they go after that?
Then they go home for the series against the Twins.
There you have it. So then they're going to get Porcello, should start that series. Verlander will be number 2.
Verlander, who will start tomorrow's game, nearest our camera.
You know, that guy's got a shot at Cy Young. Justin Verlander. He's 16-9, leading the league in strikeouts. I remember he pitched a game here, 1-0 game. It was he against Cliff Lee. Indians had a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Grady Sizemore hits one out of the ballpark, and what's Curtis Granderson do? Brings it back into the yard. The Tigers end up winning 1-0.
Leadoff man at second for Detroit here in the 6th. Cabrera steps away. He's driven in 3 already tonight with a single, a 2-run homer. He's walked and scored. The 2-2. And the count goes full. Aubrey Huff waits on deck. Gosling now ready in the payoff pitch. Hammered foul. Miguel Cabrera came in batting .321 against the Indians in his career. Dozen homers, 33 ribbies in 40 games, and he's added to it tonight. In the air, deep left field. Brantley back on the track, reaches up and pulls it down. Clete Thomas retreats to second base as Brantley takes extra bags away from Cabrera.
This is going to be a McDonald's. I'm loving it as Brantley makes a nice running catch. I thought that ball was going to get over his head, but he's able to put it away for out number one.
I asked Brantley about playing left field. He said primarily he played center in Columbus this year, but he said, you know, left field here, he said, obviously you got to take into consideration the scoreboard, the way the ball comes off of that. And he said also that the angle of the wall when you go into the corner is something he said I want to work on, try to get familiar with how the ball plays off of that.
Yeah, it's all a matter. You work a little bit on it during batting practice. It's a matter of just getting some repetitions in games out there, and that's exactly why Eric Wedge has him out there. He wants Crow to take a look at him in center field, get Brantley in left, because they're not going to play center field next year when Grady comes back. But they will need, give him a day off, and you got to have somebody else out there.
40 pitches for Mike Gosling so far in activity in the Indians bullpen. Gosling has worked an inning and a third to this point. And a strike to Aubrey Huff. 3-1. Jose Veras is loosening. In the dirt, ball 4. 2 on, 1 out for Carlos Guillen, who's had a huge night for the Tigers. The switch hitting left fielder, a 2-run shot into the bullpen, and then from the right side of the plate, he sent a screamer into the bleachers.
Yeah, his first home run from the right side of the plate, and he hasn't hit there very often. Once, last Thursday against Bruce Chen from the Royals. But boy, it looks like he's been hitting that way all year from the right side. He had shoulder issues this year, missed a lot of time, and
they get him back going hot down the stretch.
They need him back. Look at it. I'll tell you what, he's swinging the bat very well.
Crow got crossed up, came in, couldn't get back in time. That's going to bring home Clete Thomas. Aubrey Huff will stop at third. And Carlos Guillen with his third hit of the night and his fourth run batted into the ball game.
Well, that one there was a gift because Crow was fooled on that ball. It'll go as a double. So now 10 total bases for Guillen, but that ball was hit on a line, and, normally you're going to catch this ball. Watch his break. See, he started coming in totally fooled on it. He misread that ball, and it gets over his head. So that'll go as a double, and another run will score. That'll make it a 10-1 game.
And we've got a timeout here at Progressive Field as Eric Wedge will make a move to the bullpen. Jose Veras coming on when we come back. Mike Gosling, who went an inning and a third. 2 runs on 5 hits and responsible for the 2 on base at this point. Veras making his 43rd appearance of the year. 4 up, 3 down, 572 earned run average. And 45 2/3 innings of work. He's walked 25, struck out 35. He'll be facing Brandon Inge with 2 Tigers aboard. The runner at third, Aubrey Huff. Carlos Guillen down at second. Inge 0 for 2. Picked up an RBI back in the first on a fielder's choice. He's also walked and flied to left. Up high, ball 1. Detroit looking for their 81st win of the year. Unfortunately, the Indians sliding toward a 10th straight loss. Hey, tonight after the game, join Jim Donovan and Mary Kay Cabot for the Berea Report. They'll get you an up-to-date on the Browns practice today, preview this Sunday's game against the Ravens. The Berea Report tonight after the game right here on Sports Time Ohio. Inge fouls it away.
Again, and they're going to add to that string where they haven't had a lead in quite some time. It'll go over 60 innings, I'm sure, tonight.
Yeah, we started the game at 59.
Right,
innings.
Okay.
They have not
Well,
led.
add another 9.
2-1 pitch. And that evens the count. And the 2-2. Slug to center, a base hit. That's going to get Huff home. Guillen is stopped at third. 11-1 Tigers. Inge with his second RBI on the night gives him 78 on the year. Tell you, if it was a close game, they might have sent Guillen because he got a great jump.
Well, you know, in a ball game like this, they're just relaxed. They're teeing it up no matter what they do. They're hitting everything thrown. 13 hits now by the Tigers. That run is going to be charged to Gosling. He's got one more he's responsible for.
As we said before, it's not often that a catcher will leg out an infield hit, but the last time up, Laird hit a little tapper softly towards third, and he just did beat off the throw by Jamie Carroll. His first and only hit in the series. But what Laird has done a great job of this year is slowing down the running game. He's thrown out almost 42% of the would-be base stealers.
That's outstanding. I mean, when you look at 30%, it's very good.
It's number one among American League
catchers.
pitchers.
And I mean, you have to, when you look at 42%, it's like Pudge Rodriguez used to. He even got up to 50 at some time. But you said you talked to Leland at the winter meetings after they made this deal, and number one, receiving. You know, call a good game, handle my pitching staff, throw out base runners.
Said we didn't get this guy to hit home runs and lead us with his bat. We need him for one thing.
You know, but in turn now, when you're throwing out 42%, you have to get help from the pitchers as well. They've got to do a job of controlling the running game and holding the base runners close to give you an opportunity. But as a matter of fact, when Brantley was here, and remember he made his debut in Detroit, and he's on his own on the green light, Laird was the guy that threw him out first time, and I mean on a seed that was right there. He slid right into it. It was an excellent throw.
2-1 pitch. Double play ball to second. Valbuena to Cabrera. On to first. Inning over. Tigers get 2 more. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. 11-1 Detroit. All right, it's 11-1 now in favor of Detroit. And we move to the bottom of the 6th inning. Don Kelly takes over in left field for Carlos Guillen. I guess he deserves the rest of the game off after
absolutely.
what he's done tonight.
What a night he had.
And Ryan Perry coming on in relief of Rick Porcello, who went 5 innings, a run on 6 hits, walked 3, struck out 1. He didn't have to be spectacular tonight the way they swung.
No, he did not. And you know what? That's why you get him out of there after 5. Get your work in and move on. You know, rarely are you going to see the Tigers put this many runs on the board, so take advantage of it.
Bottom third of the Indians' order here. Lou Marson will lead it off. And a fastball strike. Ryan Perry, another rookie, ranked 6th among American League rookies with 48 appearances coming in.
This young man also has a very good arm.
Right-handed batters just hitting .216 against him. Marson slices one down the line, just foul. Marson 0 for 2 tonight. He has flied to deep right field and then was called out on strikes on a 3-2 pitch in the 3rd. Right back over the screen. Hey, this kid has a good arm. Ryan Perry. Talking about a guy in the mid-90s. Missed down low. Full count. Ryan Perry was the Tigers' #1 pick back in, well, last year, actually, out of University of Arizona.
A Tucson boy, huh?
Interesting story here. Perry had won just 2 games and had a .675 earned run average over 2 college seasons when he went to the Cape Cod League as an injury replacement for a teammate. He had actually gone to Arizona to be a shortstop. Home plate umpire rings him up, said Marson went too far. And that's out #1 here in the 6th. Marson tried to check his swing.
Could
not do it.
And he did. He went around. But there's no harm. Go ahead and try and decoy him. Flip the bat out of there and take off. He did, but home plate umpire called it.
That's something, though. A guy can throw 98 miles an hour and originally was a shortstop. And obviously had troubles as a pitcher as he converted because, trying to command it maybe take a while.
Sometimes you have that arm and you could throw it. I mean, look at Chu. Chu could throw in the mid-90s. He's got a great arm. He ends up playing, right field.
Just missed with that ball down low. Trevor Crowe for 2 tonight.
I will say this. In the first 2 games, it seems to be a hitter's zone. No matter how you look at it, there's a lot of close pitches that have gone for balls in the first 2 games.
Perry takes a long look in at Gerald Laird. And now the 2-2 is fouled away.
Hitters do seem to fall a lot of pitches off, though, with that 96, 98, because it's probably straight.
That's the one knock on him is that his fastball, especially the 4-seamer, is pretty straight.
I remember when he came into Detroit against us, there were some guys, they made him work to get out of an inning. He's going to have to learn how to sink it a little bit, change speeds, which he will.
Swung on and missed.
Or he could throw it right by you.
Just paint the outside corner with that one. 2 down. Let's get another look at the Alltel text poll question of the game. What do you think? Who's been the Indians' best pitcher this year? 1 for Kerry Wood, 2 for Chris Perez, 3 for Jeremy Sowers, 4 for Aaron Laffey, 5 for David Huff. We'll have the results coming up in a little while. Ryan Perry had one of those life-changing moments while he was in college. He was a sophomore at Arizona, and he broke his non-throwing arm, his left arm, in a motorcycle accident. And he said, I was a goof-off before that accident. My work ethic and everything changed when I was sitting in that hospital, not knowing if I was ever going to play baseball again. He said that accident really changed me mentally. When you've got that kind of ability, I guess that was kind of his wake-up call.
It's unfortunate that it takes something like that for you to, to learn. But, a lot of times from adversity and from things that you do wrong, that's where you learn when you fail. When you're a decent athlete, and I don't care in any sport, you think you're better, you're a
little invulnerable.
Yeah, exactly right. You
just kind of got that air that I'm fine. Nothing's going to happen to me.
Like you're Superman.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you find out how human you are.
In an instant.
Yeah, in an instant is right. It doesn't take much. And hopefully that incident doesn't.
I'm still
really
waiting for that moment to happen for you.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you. I was going to say it may never happen to you.
Please. Marte draws a 2-out walk. And we'll turn it over to the top of the order now.
Well, visit the official online shop of the Cleveland Indians. That's Indians.com. Largest online selection of caps, T-shirts, jerseys, and more. Get your gear straight from the source. That's Indians.com.
Michael Brantley takes a strike. When was the first time, the first time you ever really got your lunch handed to you? See, the fact that you even have to think about it tells me everything I need to know.
I want to think about it. Maybe kindergarten when I had to. And it was 12 o'clock. I had a peanut butter and jelly and some milk.
Oh, boy. I should have known better. See, you can't even think of it.
No, I can tell you.
I've
got to tell you, but I've got to tell you off the air. I can't tell you on air.
That's not good either.
Oh, yeah, it is.
The 0-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Ryan Perry strikes out the side. And we'll go to the 7th, the 11-1 Tigers.
DirectEnergy.com/GoTribe for details. And by AM/PM. Too much good stuff.
The 11-1 Tigers lead it as we go to the 7th inning here at Progressive Field. Jose Veras, who got out of the 6th inning with a double play ball, will face Ramon Santiago and then the top of the order. Santiago tonight 1 for 3 with a single. And he's lined one into center again for his 2nd hit of the ball game. 2 hits allowed by Veras. And now we'll go to the top of the order and Curtis Granderson.
Well, Friday the Indians will open their series against the Orioles. It'll be Rock and Reblast, which is a spectacular fireworks show. And I mean to tell you, it's back for an encore presentation. That'll be against the Baltimore Orioles on Friday night.
This is now 5 straight innings, Rick, that the Tigers' leadoff man has reached. And in the previous 4, they've all scored. Granderson pops it out of play.
Well, yesterday the Tigers, they had 2 doubles and 1 home run when they scored their 3 runs. But today, 3 homers, a couple of doubles. They get 3 doubles. And they have hit the ball all over the ballpark. They have hit everybody well. Masterson, Gosling, they're getting to Veras now.
Detroit 11th in the American League in runs scored, but they have scored 11 tonight. First time they've done that since back on July the 3rd at the Metrodome when they scored 11 runs against the Twins. Swung on and missed. Strikeout for Jose Veras, 1 down here in the 7th.
Gets him to chase a breaking ball off the plate. A little backdoor breaking ball coming in, and Granderson swings and misses.
Placido Polanco, 1 for 4 tonight. Fouls it away. Polanco singled and scored in the first inning. Since then, he has struck out and grounded out a couple of times. Nothing and 2 the count. This is one of those games where Jim Leyland may start to empty his bench with the September call-ups. You do have a number of players in reserve. He may start to pull some of his starters.
Well, you're right. Now would be the time. It's a good game. I mean, for him to do that.
Polanco with a liner in the left field, a base hit, his 2nd hit of the night. Santiago stops at 2nd. And that is going to be it for Polanco. We'll get a pinch runner. It looks like Adam Everett coming in.
Well, he picked on a slider there. He threw him a good slider to get him to swing at strike 2, but he didn't get this one away enough. And Polanco gets his 2nd hit of the day, and he can call it a day. And you're absolutely right. Adam Everett comes in to pinch run, so he'll probably go back to short and send Santiago to 2nd.
Clete Thomas 2 for 4. Single, double, couple of runs scored. Checks on a ball up high. Well, another fill the house for charity night here at Progressive Field, and $29,720 raised for the Ronald McDonald House of Cleveland. On the year, over $500,000 has been raised in our Fill the House for charity events, and the final Fill the House is next Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll end it. That's our final home game
for the United Way of Greater Cleveland. So hope to see you out here and support as we raise money for the United Way of Cleveland next Wednesday night.
Final home game of the year against the Chicago White Sox.
Fouled in and out of the glove of Marson. Veras with a 2-1 and a swing and a miss. Well, the Twins keep pouring it on. They lead the White Sox 5-0 now in the bottom of the 4th at U.S. Cellular Field.
Boy, the White Sox just fell off the face of the earth, didn't they?
2-2 pitch. A bit low, full count. And they're starting to get it from, their young pitchers too, guys that maybe, you never thought would be counted on this late in the season, but Twins are getting good pitching performances from everybody. Second strikeout here in the 7th inning. We'll go back to the studios for a Ford Sports update, and Al has the latest from U.S. Cellular Field.
Yes, guys, and it looks like not much is going to change tonight in the American League Central. Mark Burley already gone. Here in the top of the 4th inning, Carlos Gomez a double, gets another Twins run in. They're blanking the Sox right now, 5-0. The bottom of the 4th inning at U.S. Cellular Field.
Miguel Cabrera takes a strike. Miguel Cabrera has had a good night for the Tigers. He went too far, 0-2. Cabrera drove in a run and scored in the first. He walked and scored in the third, hit a 2-run homer in the fourth, and then flied out to deep left field in the 6th. Down on the count here, 0-2, and wouldn't be surprised if he gets lifted after this at bat. Two on, two out, 0-2 pitch. Way outside. Justin Masterson started tonight for the Indians, went 4 innings, 8 runs, 6 earned. Mike Gosling, an inning and a third, 3 runs on 5 hits. And now Jose Veras. Right back to the screen. Another 1-2. Slider on the outside corner, and the inning is over. Veras strikes out the side, and the Tigers do not score. Stretch time in Cleveland, 11-1 Detroit. Is coming to a Panini's near you. Stay up to date. Visit them online at paninisgrill.com. Defensively now for Detroit.
Well, you mentioned there'd be a few changes, and there certainly are.
Ryan Rayburn has come into the ballgame. He's gone to left field, so Kelly has come in from left. He's now at first base. Rayburn drilled one out of here last night, you recall, off Aaron Laffey for the first run of that game. Adam Everett stays in the game. He's at shortstop now. Santiago slides over to second. And Kelly is now at first. Jamie Carroll takes the ball up high. In the air. This will be Granderson in center field. One down.
Well, tickets are available for the AMPM all-you-can-eat seats. $32 upper reserve seat ticket includes unlimited hot dogs, popcorn, peanuts, nachos, and Pepsi products.
As Drupal Cabrera, 1 out of 3 on the night. He'll step in here. Last year, the Indians won the last 7 head-to-head matchups against Detroit. Started the season by beating them in the first game of the season series 6-5. So that ran their win streak against Detroit to 8 in a row. Detroit then promptly ripped off 6 straight wins against the Tribe, and now gunning for their 5th straight win here tonight against Cleveland.
I told you the chance they had. They've beaten them 4 times this year. And it was Carl Pavano that had beaten them 3 times out of the 4 games they have won.
Well, the Indians have beaten Detroit by scores of 6-5, 5-4, 6-5 in 13 innings, and 11-1. That was a Pavano game. So even the games they've won.
1-run games. 3 out of the 4 1-run games, yeah.
Perry's 3-1 pitch, and he missed. Ball 4. Second walk issued by the Tigers right-hander. And it will bring up Shin-Soo Choo, 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. Browns Trips packs are still available. You can build your own 3-game ticket plan, including the interstate battle against the Bengals, for under $100. Get your Browns Trips packs online at clevelandbrowns.com. Chu hammers one into the right field corner. Fair ball. Cabrera on his way to third. He'll get the stop sign there. Chu with a double, his first hit of the night. Indians' first hit since the 4th inning. There's Chu's 37th double of the year, 2nd in the series.
First extra base hit of the night out of their 7 hits. It's a Shin-Soo Choo double where he just drills that ball down the line. Turned on it, down in the corner in a hurry.
And now Travis Hafner 1 for 3 tonight. And a hard ground ball to second. Santiago throws to Kelly. 2 down. Cabrera scores, and Hafner picks up his 2nd RBI of the game. 45 on the year now for Pronk. Chu slides over to third with 2 down. Now to bring up Luis Valbuena. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Outside corner, called strike. Indians and Tigers will wrap up this 3-game series tomorrow right here at Progressive Field. We'll have it for you at 7 o'clock. And then the Orioles come to town over the weekend. 1-2 the count. Tigers have really effectively changed speeds against Valbuena here tonight.
Yeah, really what they're doing, showing them fastballs and attacking them with off speed.
Slicing it the other way, left field line, diving attempt, fair ball into the corner it goes. Rayburn gave it all he had, came up empty. Chu scores and into second with a double is Luis Valbuena. His 23rd two-bagger of the year, gave him 26 runs batted in. And the Indians with a pair here in the 7th, now trail 11-3.
Well, back-to-back extra base hits. It's only the 3rd in this series. Chu had 2 of them, and there's a pretty good pitch, but he gets a fastball, and that's why they were just showing him the fastball. And that wasn't a bad location, down and away, but he was able to keep it fair. And that'll be a double for Valbuena, make it an 11-3 game.
And Lou Marson, 0 for 3 tonight. Looks at ball 1 down low. Swung on and missed. Good high heater. Outside edge, 1-2. Good breaking ball down in the dirt. He did not go around, says Joe West. Tigers have only struck out 4 Indians hitters tonight, and I say only because they're averaging almost 7 strikeouts per 9 innings this year, and that's the highest single-season strikeout per 9 inning total in franchise history.
Wow. Well, they got him on a check swing his last at-bat. That was close, but he did not go. He was able to check it.
Popped him in the air, shallow center. Santiago, the second baseman, is under it, and the inning is over. Indians get a couple, but through 7, it's 11-3 Detroit.
without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Eighth inning here at Progressive Field. And some changes for the Tribe. Chris Jimenez takes over in right field for Shin-Soo Choo. Newman Romero in at shortstop for Cabrera. And the new Indians pitcher is right-hander Jess Todd. Jose Veras went an inning and 2/3, 3-hit scoreless relief, struck out 3.
Bring on Jess Todd now. He'll struggle a little bit in his time here. Let's see how he does here at 11-3 game. He has had a tendency of, going deep to a lot of hitters in the counts, even when he gets ahead of them early.
Swing and a miss. Aubrey Huff, RBI double back in the first. And now the count 1-2. Bouncer to first, Marte. 1 down. Well, let's get the results in tonight's Alltel Text Poll question of the game. And those watching tonight select Aaron Laffey as the Indians' best pitcher this year. Among the choices, Jess Todd misses inside, ball 1. Now, I think it'll be interesting to see next year for a guy like Aaron Laffey starting the season in the rotation and, basically getting a full year under his belt, hopefully. If he can stay healthy and stay in that rotation all season, it'll be interesting to see what he can do.
You're right. That's the key, getting in the rotation and staying all season.
The scoreboard update brought to you by Coors Light. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Yeah, the Indians this year using 52 players, 29 pitchers, and they've had 29 for quite some time.
Now Jess Todd's 2-2. Bounced it foul past Andy Van Slyke, their first base coach. And the 2-2 pitch. Almost chased after it, but able to hold up. Full count. We started talking about it earlier in the ball game. The 2007 draft that produced Rick Porcello, who started the game for the Tigers tonight. Marte takes care of Kelly, 2 down. That draft also produced, as I mentioned earlier, a number of guys already in the big leagues. David Price was the #1 overall pick with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
Mike Moustakas was the number 2 overall pick. You remember Kansas City. He's still in the Royal system. But he's only in high A ball, so he's been a little slower compared to guys like Matt Wieters, the 5th pick in that
Just
draft
made
with
it
Baltimore.
this year.
Looks like he's going to be pretty good.
Switch hitting catcher. Yeah, we'll see him this weekend.
Matt Laporta was the 7th pick that year. The Indians took Bo Mills with the 13th overall selection, and he seems to be rising through the minor leagues. Aaron Pareto was the 25th pick that
left-hander with the White Sox that was traded over to San Diego this year for Peavy.
Hard ground ball hit to short. Newman Romero throws him out. And the Tigers go 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. 11-3 Detroit. (11-3) Tigers up. Bottom of the 8th inning.
Zach Miner coming in for the Tigers. After Perry went his 2 innings, a couple hits, a couple of runs, a couple of walks. Miner playing for the 47th time. He did make 5 starts. They were early. Jim Leyland thinks this guy much more valuable to this team out of the bullpen, where he can give you a couple innings consistently. One of his starts came against the Indians this year.
Trevor Crowe 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of ground outs and a punch up. Left field. Rayburn over, makes the grab just inside the line. 1 down. Back we go to the STO studios for a Ford Sports update. Al has the latest on the wild card chasing Colorado Rockies.
Well, Matt, the Colorado Rockies right now are trailing San Diego. Will Venable here with the home run in the 2nd inning. Pods lead this one 2-0 as the Rocks try to put away that wild card, but San Diego's saying not quite yet. Back to you in Cleveland.
Long way to go in Colorado. They've played very well there.
Based on what happened last night, too. I mean, my goodness, that was a shootout.
Colorado, just about, they're 46-27 at home. And they have played very well.
Andy Marte shoots one into left center field for a base hit. Marte 2 for 2 with a couple of walks tonight. Missed outside for ball one. Probably just looking, Rick, it probably won't take long for Boston to wrap up the wild card.
Right. They have, what, a 7 or 8 game lead?
7 when the day began over Texas. Texas really hit the skids down the stretch. Lost 7 out of their last 10 heading into today. Boston leading Kansas City 3-2. They're in the 5th inning at Kauffman Stadium. Red Sox magic number, I'm told, is 6 to wrap up the wild card. Broken bat bouncer towards short. Everett steps on the bag, throws to first. And we'll go to the 9th, 11-3 Detroit. Ninth inning here in Cleveland. And let's take a look right now at our Northern Ohio Buick Pontiac GMC performance of the game.
No doubt it's Carlos Guillen. He had some kind of night. 10 total bases, couple of homers, a double, 4 ribbies. His first home run from the right side of the plate.
How about that? 5 hits against the Indians and 4 of them for home runs. Rafael Perez for the 51st time this year. He'll face Gerald Laird, Ramon Santiago, and Curtis Granderson here.
Last inning was only the second time in this game that Detroit went down 1-2-3. They did it back in the 2nd inning and in the 8th inning. Other than that, they have had their share of base runners. 15 hits, 11 runs.
Well, to your point about going in order, after they went 1-2-3 in the 2nd inning, they got their leadoff man aboard in the next 5 innings in a row, and in the first 4, they scored. And that's when they really blew the game open. I mean, let's face it, the way the Indians have been swinging the bats lately, that 4 spot in the first inning was going to be a lot to overcome.
Yeah, no question.
But they had a 2-run homer in the 3rd, a 2-run homer in the 4th, solo homer in the 5th, tacked on 2 more in the 6th. Carroll, long throw, in time to retire Laird, 1 down.
That's a good play. A guy that doesn't play this position every day, that's going to be the longest throw you can make as a third baseman. He's throwing from the corner of the grass all the way across in time to get Laird. Nice play by Jamie Carroll.
Stretch that arm out all the way, didn't
Well, normally he'll play second base. Now, you look at that throw from second compared to where he just made it, and you have to be accurate and get something on it. Not an easy thing to do. That's why, guys, he'll take ground balls because he does play those different positions every day. And he'll make throws like that just to make sure it's when he has to make a play like he did, he is ready.
Ramon Santiago, couple of hits on the night. Now Carroll's got to make the charging play on the run, and he nails Santiago 2 down.
Okay, this will be third base 101.
So he's made the 2 toughest plays a third baseman has to make on consecutive plays.
Yeah, that one they're gonna top it, and he's gonna have to run in to make the play on the run. That one a little easier because he had a nice hop. If he would have had to stay down on it and come up and throw, it might have been a little tougher, but still.
Curtis Granderson, 1 hit on the night. 1 out of 5 has scored a run. I remember Holbert Cabrera, who was a pretty good utility man for the Indians, could play just about anywhere. And I remember him telling me, he said that the hardest thing for him was when you would have to play that left side of the infield, those long throws. He said that's the thing that starts to, can really wear and tear on your arm.
Well, because, you have to know the runners, first of all, and how much time you have. With guys that can run and you're not out there every day, it's not something that's ingrained into your mind.
And I guess if you think about it, the outfield throw is just kind of it's a long throw, but those infield, when you're at shortstop, you can't air it. I mean, it's got to be on a frozen rope to get it there.
Sometimes, depending on who's running. And you have to throw from third base at different arm angles.
Yeah.
Where shortstop, you get set and it's quick feet to get yourself in a position to throw. Third base, a lot of times you'll throw sidearm because you don't want to get on top of it because you'll hit somebody in the first row over there every time.
And I suppose if you're playing it every day, it's one thing. Your arm gets conditioned.
Yeah.
But when you're second base, shortstop,
that's right.
Then all of a sudden you have to do that. One ball, 2 strikes the count. 2 down here in the 9th. Swung and a miss. And a good inning for Rafael Perez as he sets him down 1-2-3. We go to the last of the 9th here at Progressive Field. And Jeremy Bonderman coming on now for Detroit.
Boy, a guy you have not heard about this year, but a guy that was at one time, through their tough years, he was one of the best pitchers they had, and they did a terrific job.
This is a guy who came back from thoracic outlet compression syndrome surgery. It included a rib resectioning and a vein bypass.
Jeez.
Doesn't sound like something you ever really want to have done.
No. Well, this kid came up with the A's when he was a kid. He signed at, 16 or 17, I think. Ended up coming over to Detroit.
Well, and he also was part of those teams that were really just getting abused.
But he was going out there
he would
and
take
taking
the ball
it. Yes,
every
he
fifth
would.
day,
He
go
learned
out
a
there,
lot.
Took his lumps, pitched for Alan Trammell.
You talk about having this kid used to have a terrific slider. You know, we've seen him make some very good starts against the Indians.
164 career starts for Detroit. Carroll beats one into the ground, and Brandon Inge throws him out. Two down here in the ninth. Newman Romero will get his first at bat of the night. Takes the ball down low. Romero got his first big league hit September 12th against the Royals as a pinch hitter. Conrad's postgame show comes your way after the final out. We'll look forward to the series finale tomorrow night here at Progressive Field as the Indians have another tall order ahead of them. They'll have Justin Verlander on the hill for the Tigers tomorrow, looking for his 17th win of the year. And rookie Carlos Carrasco, who made his major league debut against these Tigers, will go for the Tribe. That's tomorrow night at 7 right here on Sports Time, Ohio. Newman Romero draws a free pass. And a one-out base runner now for Chris Jimenez, who will get his first plate appearance tonight. And when you've missed as much time as Bonderman has, it's almost like you're learning all over again. And this is a guy who at one time he used to be able to hump it up there like Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
He'd get up there 96, 97.
Yes, he could. He was very impressive when he came up. You know, and injuries are a part of the game. And you know, this guy could come back and still be very good. We'll see after his winter of rehabbing and coming back. And you know, if they get this guy back in the fold anywhere close to where he once was, that's only going to benefit the Tigers. He's a tough competitor.
Can't seem to find the bottom of that strike zone. He's missing low with everything. 3-0 the count to Jimenez. And it's ball 4, so he's walked 2 in a row here in the ninth. And Jim Leland, he's not even going to bother with the pitching coach, and he went to the bullpen already. I think he signaled for a left-hander. He did.
Yes, he did.
I think maybe this was just an opportunity to try and get Bonderman some work, and maybe Jim just doesn't want to leave him out here. There was no sweet nothings whispered in his ear as he left him out.
There was not.
So a timeout. Tigers on top, 11-3. After Jeremy Bonderman walked back-to-back hitters. Did he even throw a strike to either one?
One strike. One strike, yeah.
So whatever it was, Jim Leland did not like what he was seeing. He didn't bother to go and say, hey, let's go, get aggressive, throw strikes. He just went out, took the ball, said, see you later. Travis Hafner now steps in with 2 on, 1 out. Fute Knee, left-hander, deals, and Hafner pops one in the air, right center field. Cleet Thomas, the right fielder, has it. 2 down. Two on, 2 out. There's still a little life left in this park, believe it or
Yes,
not, even with the
is.
Indians down 8. Pitch to Valbuena in there for a called strike. Either that or they've had way too many over the limit. Breaking ball, and it's just fouled wide at first by Valbuena. We get a shot of those guys.
Do you want one?
The coach's
There
assistants
they
from
are.
Fantasy Camp.
There they are.
are.
They're ready to roll. Those guys are great workers. There they are.
They're the guys that make Fantasy Camp run. Without them, you'd have no camp.
Well, 11-3. Why not one more time?
They're cheering. I mean, they're fired up. They don't want this game to end. People are looking around like, what in the world is wrong with those guys? The 0-2 pitch. Valbuena fouls it right back. Oh, my. After a game like this, we'll take anything.
We needed them from the 5th on.
Where were you guys 4 innings ago?
They were about a case lighter.
Now the 2-strike pitch to Valbuena. And it's up high. Romero and Jimenez drew back-to-back walks, and then Bonderman was taken out of the game. Now the 1-2 by Knee. And Valbuena shoots it back. In the air, left field. Rayburn will make the catch. And the Detroit Tigers are now poised for a 3-game sweep of the Tribe. The Indians' losing streak has reached 10 in a row as the Tigers win it tonight by a final score of 11-3. The win goes to Rick Porcello. He only went 5